larynx is through the voice box. Well, here, I got it right in front of me. So up here would be the throat. This is the voice box, and then this is the trachea. So the voice box or the larynx leads right into the trachea.
Good. And for digestion, what is it?
Okay, for digestion, there's another tube back here called the esophagus.
Oh,
So there's another tube, coming in right here, but they divide right here at the epiglottis.
Okay.
So when you swallow, the epiglottis closes. I mean, we've all had this happen. Something we say goes down the wrong pipe or something like that, or the old, the Heimlich maneuver or whatever they call it. When somebody gets something stuck right in there and they're choking and they can't breathe, and they grab them and give them a nice big hug, only kind of a weird hug. And oftentimes that would save their life. I don't know, I've never seen it, I hope I never do. I don't know if it really happens where somebody like through a projectile spits out the thing that was causing the obstruction and you can see on television, but anyway, it certainly can save someone's life. So remember the epithelium is PSCC. So, look, here's how this works. So back here is the esophagus. This is the food tube. And here's the air tube. And this thing, as you'll find out this week, is all kind of closed up on itself until you swallow. And then it just kind of opens up. And, that's why, I don't know if your mom and dad said the same thing. They always say, chew your food, slow down, eat slower, blah, blah, don't gulp your food down. And well, I guess I kind of get it, right? Because it's a big whoop. It's got to go down there. So here's our C-shaped hyaline cartilage ring. This is a passageway for air. And of course, this would be the PSCC. There's also mucus glands, they're called tracheal glands, which are often associated with the trachea, and they secrete mucus to keep the trachea moist, wet, so to speak. So we get better, the air passes through the roof. Nice. So that's a nice picture. And this picture is basically this. All right, so now we got to talk about parts. So here's the trachea. Comes down here to the carina. Damn, I used to student. So think of it. Comes down into the carina, and then it divides into two. Remember, we got two lungs. We got two lungs. Yes, we have two lungs. Why that sounds funny to me. We've got a right lung and a left lung. And so the trachea has to divide into a right primary bronchus and a left primary bronchus. Because one's got to go to each lung. Makes perfect sense to me. And then this side over here, the right lung has 3 lobes. The left lung only has 2 because of the little cardiac notch. So the primary bronchus divides into 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Not hard there. Secondaries, because there's got to be 1 for each lobe. So 3 secondaries on the right side, 2 secondaries on the left side, because there's only 2 lobes over here. And then the secondaries, all these little colored ones on here are supposed to represent tertiary bronchus. But and there's names for them that you don't need to know. There's a slide I'll show you in a second. So you just kind of need to know the general architecture. Primaries to secondaries to tertiaries. And then they get smaller and smaller and smaller. We'll talk about that in a second. So basically, this model I'm holding up is basically the slide that's in the back. Yeah, here's the picture. So you can see on this picture, you probably can't even read it from where you're sitting. But all these little other ones, they have anterior, middle, lateral, posterior. Don't worry about all those color-coded names. And if you're a respiratory therapist or something like that, you'll probably learn. Just remember primaries, secondaries, and tertiaries. We're not worried about the individual names for all the little tertiaries. It's just not important for us to know that. Okay, now we get a lung here. All right, so I'm going to just grab a lung out of a mannequin back here. And this one will do just fine. This happens to be a right, so it'll have 3 lobes. Obviously, they're in the pleural cavity. There's a membrane on the surface called the visceral pleural. 3 on the right, 2 on the left. Lungs have a tip, which is called the apex, right here. This of course, is supposed to represent the diaphragm, and then a base. And the lungs are divided into 3 lobes. I'll put them on there in just a second, but on this particular model, it's a little hard to see if you're holding it up here, but there's 1 lobe here, another lobe here, and another lobe down there. So this right lung has 3 lobes. So here you go. So superior, and middle, and inferior lobe on the right side. On the left side, just 1 superior and 1 inferior. So the total capacity in humans are 5 lobes. I know that you've looked at your cats, and you can see they're much different than cats. The cats have like 5 on each side or something like that. They're animals who evolutionarily are adapted for running and hunting and things like that. So